So we are live now. We are actually broadcasting on the internet. Anybody who is inside the class, even if you're outside the class, can still watch it. And so we need to go to particular link and click on it, and then you should be able to see it, even if you're not able to come here in the class. But I would suggest, strongly suggest, please come here. We get to meet, we get to work together. It's a much better way of learning, collaborating. Recording is just a fallback plan for us for right now, because there is nobody in Florida joining us. So we don't have to do this transmission, but I'll still do the recording part, so we can refer to it whenever we want to. I'll share this with you. It's already shared, by the way. So the first thing I will now, as I said, do is to create student accounts for you inside our Google Apps for Work. And as I said, Google Apps for Work is a software available as a service for us that we have subscribed. And so in here, what I will do is go to users and go to students and go to not the JBLM part, but the CF2 part. I want to create a new branch, and maybe I'll just add for you on the top level, add you guys in the very top, and then I'll move you to appropriate organization. So what I want to do now is users and say add one by one, add more users, add users manually, and here really correct my mistakes if I that right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Philip, oh,
yeah.
And your first name is the login name, and I will be setting a password for you. It is Cloud Genius. One word without no spaces.
Lowercase.
All lowercase. And the login name is Philip at Cloud Genius. You know how to say that. If you want to provide additional email that you might have, you don't have, that's okay. You want phone number, whatever you want.
I can provide additional emails. It's my full name and gmail.com.
I see. So that will be Philip.th.
There's no dot yet. At gmail.com.
If you did not know, you can just randomly insert a dot wherever you feel like in Gmail. Did you know that? You can do like this, or you can do like this, wherever you feel like. There is no condition.
Work?
Yeah, it works. And there's still you, and you can even add like this, and say spam from Citibank. And that's the email address you should use with Citibank so that you can track who's actually spamming you. Did you know these tricks?
No.
Well, now you know. That's how you can filter out, and like to water supply company, you give a spam from water supply email address, and just add a plus sign, put a string. You will know who's actually spamming you, or who shared your email address without your permission. You can harass them if you feel like. And this is like a trick. You don't have to use it, but I'm just saying, right? So that's a trick in Gmail. And so philipcow@gmail.com, and I'm going to say next, and I'm going to create the user for you, and you can go to the site. I will give you the URL. It's very simple. Email.cloudgenius, and in that is the place where we will be able to log in using the email I just created for you. That's the school account. So our website is called Be a Cloud Genius. That's the name of the website. You already know this, right? Got it? Did you know already? The web domain name is actually Cloud Genius, but I have hacked the domain URL to look like this.
So Philip at.
That was your email address, was Philip at Cloud Genius. That's the email address. This is the link, the location where you can access the email. You got that?
Oh, I'm trying to log in right now.
Yes. Okay. Good. So I'll switch over to the next person, and that will be plus. Add manually. Nitin, Sanghi, and NITIN. Set a temporary password. And additional information. You have a secondary email.
It's NITSAN 1977@yahoo.com.
Nitsan 1977. Got it? Next. Create user. And this is how you log in, right? Line number 4. You got that? Okay, let's go to the next person. The user, we have Andrew. Spelling last name, please. Andrew. Your secondary email, please. Wilkins A at Gmail. Next, create user. Then we have done. Next, add users manually. Conrad. P-I-M-B-A-L-L. On Rad. Don't make typing mistakes. And additional info. Did I make a mistake previously? Additional secondary email if you have. Conrad. Secondary.
What did I say? I just used my corporate.
Fine. That will
God, I got to that one.
Conrad.kimball.com. Next, create user. And then we have next. Go. Is that correct? C-R-A-N. Is the last name correct?
Yes.
Okay. So instead of Michael is taken, I think. I'll see if Michael is taken, but I think it is taken. So I'll give you last name. Is that okay?
Sure.
That temporary password. And then additional info, secondary email if you happen to have one. E or I? So I think I have a mistake. Oh no, no mistake. Okay. So additional info, Cranville, Mike J. Cranville at gmail.com. And so next, and create user. Awesome. So we have you in the school. What it means is that you can now access the classroom website, which I will now create for you. And the classroom happens to be sitting in line number 8. That's the classroom. It is classroom.google.com. And I will be requesting you to please suggest me a good name for the class. Like we have this mighty council with these students. And so I would request you to please suggest me a good name that I can create like this. And give a name to yourself. The mighty council. If this tool just came out like a few days ago, like 10, 15 days ago, the classroom tool, Google just released it. So go have some fun, create a name, make stuff up, call yourself whatever you want, your choice. I'll just give a name. Go ahead, man. Do it. Say something. It's one-time operation. I'll never ask you again. Come up with something boring, really, really boring, or exciting. Or boring dudes, how about that? No. Then you take your name, because otherwise, if you don't tell me anything, I'll say boring dudes.
Works for me.
It's a name, man. Come on.
Big B.
Is that good? Good. Create. So you have created that, and I will now add you to the classroom, so you should be able to see this class showing up. It is creating that back in Google. So we have taken a lot of services from Google to make this happen. This is like Facebook, but only for this group. That only we can access it. Nobody else. It's just us in this room, unless we explicitly allow. So we can invite you, like one by one, which can be a little boring. So instead, I would suggest you go to classroom.google.com and use the code here, and just self-register this code. And so you can just sign in with your, by the way, anytime going forward from this point onwards, please email me or email about the class exclusively using the school account. It makes my life so much easier, you would not believe. Really easy for me. So for me, please, anytime you send me an email or you want to communicate with me or collaborate with me, access our tools, access the Hangout, access the class material, get bored watching my videos, please use my email. This email, the Cloud Genius email, that will help you and help me, because it helps me in automatically managing access control. It's completely automated for me. I don't have to worry about approving individual access requests, and it becomes a nightmare for me. Hey, I cannot access. Michael says he cannot access this video. Why? I can get rid of all that problem by allowing you to become a part of the domain, and then you have it already by definition. Right? So I see Michael just signed in. Thank you. Welcome. And other folks will be showing up pretty soon. This is the code that you see on the screen. You can configure your phones, your iPhones, Androids, tablets, whatever you have, also using the school account, which basically means that you get to access the same content on your phone. While you're shopping in Safeway, you can listen to my videos, do that. Or participate in a Hangout while you are in water silence. Something like that.
Where can I log in with that code? This where it takes me directly.
Email is wrong. See, I told you.
Oh.
Email has to be the Cloud Genius email, and then everything works. If it is some other email, like your Gmail or your corporate account, some other email, it will give you problem.
Yeah.
If you are in the Cloud Genius email, things are no problem. It works. Because it's by definition, Google has set the permissions like that, that I will cut my work, unnecessary grunt work, which I prefer to outsource to India.
So it's at Cloud Genius.
Yeah, Genius.us, yes. The way I say it's Cloud Genius, but actually the domain is Cloud Genius.us. And so your name and you. That's it. Last name. I don't know. You have first name at Cloud Genius except you. Your last name at Cloud Genius. Right? Everybody else is first name at Cloud Genius, and the password was Cloud Genius unless you changed it. If you need a reset, I can do it.
Oh, I'm just getting the blank page on.
Can you install it?
And ways to do it, it's nice. There's Firefox. Firefox is
I see. So
But it's Firefox.
Firefox will work much better than IE. Chrome is ideal. Chrome is Google's property, right? So they will make it work. So I'm just adding you manually, Nitin, because you ran into a problem. So I'm going to, cannot find you. Did I make a typing mistake in your name or something? Okay. No, there is no typing mistake. Crazy. Try Chrome or try Firefox and see how it works. Otherwise, I'll figure something out. Oh, you are internal. You're loading it up, I guess. Good. You found it? So your browser is not supported. I think that's expected of Google. They want to promote their browser. Supported browsers are Firefox. Did you update the browser? No problem. See what the version is, check the updates. You have a learning Firefox version. Okay. You're calling specific Firefox. Yep. Ouch. This is hard. This will hurt.
We have those browsers.
I think Google browsers are okay, but Google doesn't want that. You said I doesn't work. I did not say that it does work. I would not work. Might work. Give it a shot. If you not become in search, you have to go to classroom.google.com. Not this. It's a specific website just for the use in the class. It is not a public site, so it's not visible outside. But here you log in using your newly created Android app. Yours, your password. Now, you should be able to see the class. And this is just like Facebook, by the way. So it is a place for us to exchange ideas, write notes, give assignments, submit assignment answers, things like that. This is where we want. Good. Waiting for two more folks to show up in the class, in the virtual class. You got it. Awesome. What magic did you do?
Oh, I just went to Firefox.
Do you have the same Firefox that he has? What version do you have? Take that out. Home. Use the orange. 24/7 ESR polling version. Same one. Even if it says not supported, you can just type in the code and Conrad signed in, TYH7 TLO. Joining. I think it is. All of us are in. Thank you. Welcome. So I will go to the stream and say, Nitin says test post. I said, hi, Nitin, and post. And that's a simple one. Very, very simple. Just to say hi, just like Facebook is. You probably know Facebook, right? I'm assuming you know Facebook. It is a simplified version with no advertisements, no nothing. Focus on classroom activities, just this group, nobody else outside. Only these guys can access it. And that's what we have. So I'm going to now disable the code, so it will not let anybody else in. Code is disabled. And so nobody else can come in unless they actually walk into the classroom or contact us via the internet to participate from the handout. Having said, I will change the theme if you like, if you don't like, but not important. With a plain theme, that's what I was looking for. Boeing airplane theme. Maybe a sky theme is good. I take the sky. How about this? This one. Yeah. Okay. Here's sky theme. And that is the site. Now in here, in the class, there is a very simple way for me to give you an assignment. Assignment can be as simple as read something, or do some specific project, do some action, do some the work we do in the class. We'll discuss that, and occasionally I'll post something like, "What is 2 + 2 =?" And I'll ask that as an assignment and give you a date of 15th of September and the time of, say, 4:37 p.m. It is due 4:37, 2 plus 2 equals, and I'll assign it like this. What it will do is give you an assignment prompt and ask you to submit a response. Very easy, very simple. And assignment got created, so it will show up in the upcoming assignment section on the left side. Trivial, nothing simple. I mean, nothing complex, for you already know this idea. The idea is to then go to that assignment and submit a response, and the answer 2 plus 2 is whatever it is. As simple as that. So that's the mechanic of submitting a response, if you like. You can also just, if you don't like the tool, just tell me the tool is bad and we'll stop using it. There is no sanctity of using this tool. It just happens to be an interesting tool that people seem to like. And so I use it. So here is an assignment. 5 of you haven't done it. And the way to do that is click on the assignment, and you need to create. Sorry, I don't see what you see. So I see the feature view. I would like to see what you see. So one way to see that is there will be a button to create a response, right? You see that?
Docs.google.com.
That is correct.
And it's kind of blocked by the Boeing security.
So most of our content is on docs.google.com.
Yeah, so Google Doc is blocked.
Yeah.
So the entire material is stored in Google. Oh my God. Okay. We'll figure out something else. So the whole site is Google Docs, driven Google Drive based, Google Apps for work based, and so.
So do we need to bring our own personal
If it is feasible, please do that. If it is not feasible, I will work around this problem. Like meaning,
So is what kind of content is out there? Documents.
Did anybody not get one of these?
yes, I did not. I will make it out there. Thank you.
So for example, where I'm going with this is that I have the ability to bypass the filter and bring it into a central repository inside. So the perimeter, the company perimeter blocks certain sites. I have the ability to bypass that. So I could import things where people like me could get access to. So that works for reading material, interactive kind of material.
So what I will do is I'll take notes on where we are getting stuck, and then figure out how to work around the problem. Right? We'll do that. So one was this docs business, which is kind of strange. Let's hit one more site. So let me go give you the URL for that site, and see if you can open it. It's library dot, and I'll go enable access for you. Library dot Club Genius, and in there I will go and enable access for this big B.
So I can get that.
So can you play videos in there?
Well, let's see. Let's see that.
So the website again is library.clubgenius, and in here, let's go to somewhere like set up your workstation as the first step. So there is a video in which you can see what I'm saying. Does the video play for you? Like this. Are you able to see it?
I had to request access to the library.
Are you able to open the site?
So you see,
I had to request
It's asking
access
me
to
to request
Request access. Refresh the browser. It should be okay.
yeah, to set up workstation, and then you want to do what?
Oh,
No, hold on. Do nothing. Just want to see if you are able to access it. So go to the
So I can get
settings.
to the library.
No, the video
There's
is
content
blocked.
here.
Aha, that content is the drive part. That's where the video is supposed to play. Like you see on my computer. Anything to that? I guess not. Right. Thank you.
We'll have to later.
Yes. So this window is what I think is blocking, and this is the videos are actually stored in Google Drive.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's why.
That is blocked.
I think you bear bad news for ODA. Important right there.
I understand. We'll work on it. So I think I would suggest for people who are using lockdown machine that we begin downloading Ubuntu ISO. And let's build the machine right here. So I'll tell you how to do it. It's very simple. You know what to do with it.
We've got policies against downloading stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Maybe I will give you the machine, a ready-made VMware player machine. That should be okay, right? Just like I gave
There's
you.
another thought. We could finesse this go around it by maybe doing a virtual desktop kind of thing.
Yes. Do you have access to
I have access to Amazon. You
have just one person. There are two people actually, two more.
So that's what I've done in other classes, is just working.
It makes sense. I think that works out okay. In Amazon workspaces, you can build out a machine with either Linux directly or use Windows and then install VMS. I mean, since we really need a Linux box to work with, because we do command line work, we'll run Ruby and run Chef and run other tools to make it work. So it's good to have a Linux terminal on hand. Like the people with Macs technically don't need, but it's a good thing to have the Linux to get familiar with it. Because most cloud services are dominantly using Linux these days, so it's good to get familiarized with it. Most of us, are trained to use Windows to begin with, and so I come from Windows background. I used to develop Windows. Windows 7 is my product. I have developed this product that you probably use. It's called Link. You familiar with this thing?
Mm-hmm.
So this product is mine, and I have a patent on which back in 2007 this was filed. So I invented the whole concept of presence detection. This is my creation. It is now assigned to Microsoft, and that is me assigned to Microsoft back in 2007, and now the patent is approved. The patent essentially goes in detecting physical presence. So in Link, you can find out who is available, who is busy, who is away, who is in meeting, who is on phone. Those aspects are in this patent. And so this was implemented back in when I got the opportunity to meet and present to Bill Gates. The big guy, the real hero. He's awesome. Then I got the opportunity to work on this product to create it from scratch. It did not exist, and so now it has a life of its own. The product exists. People use it. You use it, I guess. All of you going from use it, and so it's a great product. At least I think so. And yes, I have used Windows. I've created Windows, but we use mostly Linux. At least primarily because first it is open source, and I support open source. I like it. Most companies seem to like it. Most technology companies are using Linux big time these days. Clouds are developed primarily on open source tools. So it's a great idea to have each one of us use Linux as our workstation in this class. That's our goal. Now, these Macintosh machines do not have that trouble. You need to find a way for you to run virtual machines or real machines or machines in the cloud, which are Linux. And we also need something that I just referred to you as a point-in-time snapshot and an ability to come back and then go forward with it, which is taking a snapshot of the virtual machine, make mistakes, and roll back. And make a new mistake and roll back. And then keep improving on what we are learning and get to the point where we can actually make something happen. Right? So we want to have that kind of setup. It is ideally done in a virtual machine, but if it is a cloud-based Linux box, I think my question would be for Conrad, what would you think would be a good solution for three of you that do not have access to the next block, or ready access to an open machine.
Like I said, the approach I've used in the past is to just create a virtual machine on Amazon, build out a Linux, and then I can connect to that from my corporate account.
Ah.
So it's kind of, you're running a virtual desktop.
Yes, true.
In effect.
Do you mean to say what is known as Amazon workspaces? Is that what you mean to say?
No, I've never run a virtual machine. That's what I mean.
I see. So you will SSH into it, or how would you?
Right.
Is that the idea, or
That's-
would
that's
you?
the thought.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So you can SSH into that machine in the cloud, which works out okay, but you need to be running that machine whenever you need to. Do you understand? Have you done it before? No. Have you?
No.
Okay. So any other machine have you remotely connected to in your company, outside your company, in your home?
VMs?
No, they have process. Not necessarily VMs. If I imagine a machine here, and it's connected on the same network, have you ever connected your machine to this machine? So we can figure it out. The simple principle of connecting to a remote computer is something that I think you might have already done, but we may not call it SSH. We call it MSDSC, or remote desktop services. What do you call it? That thing that pops up. The Windows name, of course, the name for MSDSC. Terminal Services Client. Microsoft Terminal Services Client.
So we have that, but I don't know if it is.
Understood.
I don't use RDP.
RDP,
There we
same
go.
thing, same thing. We can, yes. I'm
I use
trying
that
to
every
remember.
day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So remote desktop protocol, RDP, is the method of connecting Windows machine to another machine.
Right.
And that is, that is one method of connecting to a remote Windows computer, RDP. In Microsoft, people tend to use the word MSDSC, Terminal Service Client. Right? It's just the same thing. Yes, these tools are linked into Windows. Similar to that, in Unix operating systems like this one, or that one, or this one, there is this framework called SSH, Remote Secure Shell, SSH. It runs on port number 22 and it gives you access to a terminal session on the remote computer.
Right.
You can operate on that computer all day long, no problem. You can get your entire work done, but all through a black colored window.
Right.
You see
Yeah,
that
I'm
window?
familiar with that. Like a.
So it looks like green on my computer, but this is the window,
Yeah.
right? And I can say SSH and then connect to a remote computer and see what happens.
Like a PowerShell remote.
It is almost like PowerShell, except it is called Secure Shell. See, I connected to a remote computer just like that. I just did that. See, this machine is in San Francisco. This computer that I'm showing it to you, I just connected. And it is the same computer, by the way, that runs the b.a.cloudgenie.us, that site. I just connected to that site through SSH. Have you seen this type of concept before, right? In Windows language, it is called WinRM, or Windows Remote Management. You can remotely connect to a CMD window or a remote computer in Windows using WinRM technology or RDP technology, which you also see a beautiful display, like a full start menu, desktop apps. That's the Windows part. In Unix, this is what it will look like if you connect to a remote computer in Amazon. You will get this. That's it. You feel comfortable working in such an environment? Do you? So to connect to such a thing from your machine that you have right now, you need a tool. The tool is called SSH client. You have that tool. It is also called PUTTY. We have that one. Okay. Let's see where you can get it from. And it does not require administrator privileges. It's available from this guy, this location.
So let's do a quick sketch here.
Yeah, you can do
So
a
what's-
quick sketch right here on the screen using the pen, right there.
Oh, okay.
I'll just make the screen clean for you, and there we go. Grab a seat.
So you have a solution that looks something like.
You're pressing the button, I guess. Don't press the button as you try. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we erase it?
Eraser is the third button.
Oops.
Next up, the highlighter and the eraser. Yeah, that one. Just erase. Just one stroke erases the whole thing. Sweet. That one. Yes. Sweet.
Okay, so this is a little hand-eye coordination.
It's a challenge. First time it's a challenge. Yes.
Very artistic.
So we probably have a Windows laptop number.
Mhm.
B is for building, and A is for handling. Um, you can get plenty off of Software Express.
I'm searching for it right now.
Okay, nice. Then we are done. Yeah.
All
we
right,
are
so you
essentially
can run PuTTY here. I can set you up with access in the Amazon world. So you'd run some kind of a mixed VM here. And this would be basically a virtual desktop. One of the nice things about that is you don't have to worry about all the corporate policies about downloading stuff because it's all outside.
Right.
Sweet deal. That is awesome. I did not realize you have PuTTY already in your enterprise shortlist. That is nice. By the way, you need such a tool. That tool is so awesome. So awesome. You know, it lets you manipulate any other computer like puppets. Totally. And if you have SSH access and SSH control over your infrastructure, you are the king. I mean, you feel like king because you can destroy the whole thing. You can create the whole thing.
The other thing you're going to need is not just PuTTY, you're going to need socks. There's a socks point.
The port 22 is closed.
So you set up socks and then PuTTY gets out of your socks.
And then let's give it a shot. Give this a shot. If you have do you have Amazon machine creation ability already, or you expect to spin up?
I have an Amazon account.
Is that a going account?
Corporate Amazon.
Use that for the whole team. Like, for the whole class, you should use that because it's like a strictly going class, and you don't have to worry about it. If there are other people who show up, like maybe I'm expecting somebody to show up tomorrow and day after, whenever the next session is, that's what I call tomorrow. When they come, we will not need to share our Boeing information or our Boeing accounts with them. They are expected to do their own. That is clear. So, you know, as long as it is within Boeing contract at least to help you, awesome. Please do that. To use, in fact, here's a good idea. You and you both, even if you have a Mac, follow along with what they're doing. Although it is difficult, let me say that. It is difficult somewhat than just getting my virtual machine and just playing with it. A lot easier. I think it is a learning opportunity to just figure it out. If you haven't done it before, you don't need PuTTY, you don't need socks, but you still do the same thing like they are doing because it is a good opportunity to learn something different, something completely different.
So I'm presuming VirtualBox will install and run okay on that.
You don't need VirtualBox now because we have Linux already. So why do we care about VirtualBox? You just go straight to a Linux box. We know
Okay,
all the VirtualBox does is gives us Linux and a bunch of tools.
I didn't know what you were planning to do.
So we incorporate needed things onto that VM in Amazon as we go along. If we need something, we just add it. We configure it and then use it. This will give you like the raw exposure to dealing with machines at the raw level. Really raw. It can be challenging if you're not familiar with like how do I describe that? Bare metal. What you get essentially is bare metal machine. Sure. Not even terminal. You get bare metal hardware with just the CPU, memory, hard disk, and all that network connectivity, and that's it. You need to install the OS and all that from there, build it up, which is what we will end up doing. Amazon will help us, but I think it's a good learning experience. I'm willing to accommodate that change for you, and let's do that. Even so, I'm suggesting that both of you, even if you have a Mac, you still use the same method that we will be using in the class for you. Connect to a remote computer in the cloud, and we don't need no VirtualBox because we'll build whatever we need right on that machine remotely, sitting right here, right? And I'll guide you even if I'm not able to access your VM because I will not be allowed in there unless you give me the key. There's the concept of a key pair. You familiar with the key pair concept? So you will need to create a key pair, and you will need to import that key and place it in the right location in that virtual in the machine in the cloud, and then use it. Unless you share your key with me, I cannot access it. Just so you know. But if you do share, I can access it. The key is the key, essentially, right? So here's how I envision. Yeah. Which means that give me back the USBs. You don't need it. Bottom line. And we will begin setting up individual machines for all of us, and we'll take a method of writing down exactly how we build up the machine and work on it. So what I'm going to do is give you a quick demonstration of how do you build your first machine in the cloud. How do you connect to it? The first exercise for today. I'll do it on my account, and I'll ask all of you with help from Conrad to do it on a Boeing account. Got it?
Actually, I use the benefit of snapshot. I can do it on
You might. But don't worry. We'll figure it out. Yes, I think that's
snapshot virtual machines
in Amazon. We'll figure that one out as to how and what it lets us do, and then we'll try to do the best we can to reserve snapshots even in the Amazon cloud. And then we will go back and help
that really really worth it.
No problem. Do it both ways. Party. Do both. You can do both. No problem. Do it. Totally do it. Now, I welcome anything that you prefer to help you learn something new. I welcome that. Totally. And if you want something that I did not even think of, tell me and we'll include that. Cool. So some quick basics on what Conrad described here. What I'm going to do is give you some basic fundamentals and give you an example of how I would do it right now. So what I intend to do is on this machine, I call this the machine N as opposed to machine B, which is the Boeing machines, and we'll have a machine A in Amazon Cloud. Right? This is my machine, which is Nilesh, and in my machine I have port number 22 open. It allows me to go outside whenever I want, feel like. There is no need of a SOX proxy. You would need a SOX proxy, like I understand. A SOX proxy is basically telling your laptop, which is the B laptop, to not go 22, but go instead of some other place. Because 22 is closed out. You cannot go out of 22 from your machines. They are closed for security reasons. So SOX proxy will let you connect to another port, a higher port.
SOCKS or SOX?
SOCKS.
And so this SOX proxy that you will have through your internal software system will let you connect to a port number 22 here in this machine, but through a SOX proxy. You can still go out, but through proxy. That's the workaround you will need to do, and we'll play with it and make sure it works and how it works. But for my machine, I don't need SOX. So what I will be doing is, from my machine N, I will run SSH, and then I will connect to the IP address of this machine A, and then I'll give a key, and then I'm in, and I'll get a terminal that connects me to that computer. That's what I will show you now, and you can play along once we are ready for it. But let me just quickly finish this exercise I just told you. I'll show it to you, and then we do it with you, with your Boeing accounts. Got it? In the meanwhile, just watch. See what I'm doing. I'm going to buy AWS Amazon Web Services account. And then if you happen to have an interest to use your own personal private AWS account, you have the opportunity to create one for free right now. And that is available at this site. Amazon will let you as new users. It will not let me because I already use this free offer. But they have this free offer, line number 13, that lets you create an Amazon account and use one tiny little machine for free for 1 year, for the first year. So if you have interest, you can use your existing Amazon.com, the shopping login that you might already have. Just use that login and sign up for a free account with Amazon and use their machines for free for 1 year.
Do they require a credit card or something?
Yes. Yes. You probably you bought something
Oh,
from Amazon
just-
already.
yeah.
They already know you, right?
We just sign up with the Amazon.
Yeah. If you have an Amazon account, just use that account. And if you, this is like totally personal, but it's a good idea to just have an account because they're giving it to you for free. Why not make use of it? So that's an idea. Consider that. If you don't want it, don't have to, because Conrad is so gracious and generous. He's giving you access to all Boeing machines, so why not use it? But if I were you, I would also create a free account
Yeah.
and party with it when I'm home. And just experiment with it, right? On my home computer, I want to press something out, try something new, do something different. That's an opportunity. Even if I'm not connected to Boeing right now, I still have the opportunity to connect and just experiment with it. You just understand what Boeing, what Amazon gives out for free, and there are some services that are paid services, right? So you realize that not everything is free, and not everything is free forever. There are only certain things are free, but I would take it. As a student, I would take it. When I was starting learning cloud computing on my own, I took it several years ago, but I did. And I took that free offer. It's a good idea. Now I pay. The services are really cheap. You can generate and create a computer, a Linux computer, for like 2 cents an hour. Yeah, that cheap. 2 cents an hour. You want to see the pricing? Let's see the pricing. AWS pricing. It's really cheap. I mean, it's unbelievably cheap, I should say.
So for this class, will we be touching any of the Google Cloud or not?
Yes, we use all types of clouds,
Okay.
and we're not limited. We're just starting with AWS because you happen to have an account. You don't have to use Amazon either. But Amazon, by the way, is one of the best implementations of a variety of cloud services that you have today in the industry. Like nobody else seems to even come close to the choices that they have made available. It is probably the best today. We don't know how it will evolve, but from what we know from today, why is it so slow? I don't like slow computers and slow internet mostly. Waiting for children. See, even the broadcast is stuck. The transmission is stuck. Internet is down. Is it working for you? Not working?
So far, it's working for me, but
Not working for him, not for me. But it kind of slowly trying to open something.
yeah,
There it is. Yeah, create a free
Yeah.
account. See that free button?
Yeah.
So here you see the create a free account. You get something for free. But take that offer on your own personal. Create an account. Use your existing Amazon.com or whatever you have. Party on your own. Nothing to do with work. On your own. If you want to learn, take it. I would take it. 750 hours of Linux and Windows boxes. One box for 750 hours means you can run it perpetually. The 1 month is 730 hours. This is 750 hours per month. A lot of time. You can run one box continuously without having to pay for it. Big deal. We'll run probably multiple boxes, but at least one of them will be free. If you run 2 boxes, You can run them perpetually for 15 days because it's like a month of time, right? So it's budgeted accordingly. If you just run one tiny box, you can keep it running forever for 1 year. Got that? So having said that, what I will now do is sign on to my own account, which is here. And it is going there. And I'm going to log in using my password, which is the same as my Amazon.com password, which is where I go shopping. And this is how it looks like if you haven't seen it before. Have you seen it before, this thing? You have? You have an account, that means, I guess. Did you take the free offer?
Yeah.
See. How long into the free are you?
Ended up much.
Ended. Okay,
Yeah.
so you get ready to pay 2 cents now, right? So you will spend like maybe $10 or $15 in the class, maybe more, depending on how much you consume and use the services. Or otherwise, you will end up using Boeing account, which is fine, in which you don't have to pay, but Boeing will pay. So here, the way to start a machine is to first of all understand what services they provide and offer, and let's look at what services they have quickly here. And one of them that is of interest to us right now is called EC2. It stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. ECC, Elastic Compute Cloud. It is elastic because you can grow and shrink. It is about computing, and it's in the cloud. And when I'm going to crack a joke now, but when Boeing people think of cloud, do you actually mean the object in the sky, or because you fly planes, right? So I was like curious if you think cloud and what I think of cloud is the same thing or something else. But who knows? So I just that was a joke. Back to EC2, this set of services from Elastic Compute Cloud from Amazon, that services AWS, gives us access to computers, CPU, memory, hard disk, raw machines. You can run your operating system you want on top of these machines. You can get them small, you can get them big. You can get them really, really big. You can get big CPU, you can get big GPU. You know what a GPU is? Graphical processing unit. That if you're a gamer, you probably know what a big GPU machine would be like. It will be noisy, it will be hot, it will be having fantastic graphical performance. Right? Those are graphical processing units from NVIDIA and ATI. They make these boards that will go and display on multiple displays. You can have multiple graphical output ports, and they have processing horsepower on the graphical processing units called GPUs. And you can get high GPU machines from here. You can also get high CPU machines from here. You can get high memory machines from here. You can get high disk capacity machines from here. So they give you all possible choices. High memory instances, high CPU, low memory, low hard disk, 3, tiny, ultimate, micro, God knows. So much terminology here. You just have to read and understand the pricing. The cheapest one is probably 2 cents an hour. And so that's what we'll begin with. That's what we'll try. Before we start this creating of a machine, what I need to let you know is this concept of key pair. Key pair. Are you familiar how to generate a key on a Linux box? This is how you do it. I'll show it to you. And I'll repeat that also, don't worry. SSH, key gen. That's how you do it on a Linux box. And if you are on Windows, you can use PuTTY to create a key. Or you can ask Amazon to create a key for you. Either way. We use whichever you like. But this is a method of creating keys in a Linux box or a Macintosh. The simple command is SSH keygen. And you can go options like give -t DSA, -c village, or something like that. You can give configuration options. to provide identifier for my key is this. Use the DSA algorithm as opposed to RSA algorithm. And you can select what algorithms you want for the keys and create a key pair. The key pair comes with two things: a private copy and a public copy. Right? So you want to create your own keys, or you want to have Amazon create keys for you? Your choice.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Okay, no problem. I'll repeat that. What I'm talking about is this aspect of, let's see, you want from this computer, you want to get to that computer. Right? Only you should be able to, nobody else. How do you make sure that happens? Is by using a lock and a key. Right? Lock and key. Simple things. You need that lock and key method, for which we need to have a key to begin with, and a lock. So you will put the lock here. I don't even know how to draw a lock, but then this is the key. Right? So I'm going to use the key to open the lock, and I can get in. Nobody else can, because only I have the key. I'll keep the private copy of key in my hands, not share it. You keep the public copy of key with the computer away from me, so I can get in there. And so to enable that, we need to generate this and this, both. Right? So to create a key pair is what I want to do. So I'll get a public and a private copy. A private copy I keep safe, and a public copy I'll give it to Amazon. You can either generate keys yourself or ask Amazon to create a key pair for you. When Amazon creates key pair, they will keep this copy and give this to you and not keep it. You get the private, and they'll keep the public.
What's the advantage when to either you generate it or Amazon generate it?
Trust. The advantage is trust. You know for absolutely sure that you trust yourself that nobody else ever got access to your private key ever. Then you don't trust anybody, and so you want to create your own key pair.
Okay.
But if you trust Amazon, that they will not cheat, and that they will not keep a copy of the private key somewhere safe before they gave it to you. If you trust them, you let them create a key pair. If you don't trust them, which you would not, by the way, because you're storing your machine there, but who knows. So if you trust Amazon, you would actually let them create a key pair. But if you don't trust anybody, which is high security environment, you want to create your own key pair, you will keep it and recycle the key pair every so often in systematic manner, in a repeatable manner. You will do that already, which you probably already do, but you may not be aware of. Your organization probably does that already. Okay? Your organization going will reproduce fresh set of keys and inject the public keys into all your computers and keep your old private keys, discard them, put new keys in place, and make sure to clean up your security process, security audits, and all these things happen. This is just one simple way of ensuring to create and generate your own keys, so you know for sure nobody ever had your private key to begin with. Otherwise, what happens? What happens is, if you heard of this thing called Sony PlayStation Network, several years ago, they lost the entire customer database because this contains like name, address, credit card information, the whole goddamn thing of entire Sony PlayStation Network, because some idiot managed to lose the private key. And guess what? It is on, well-known case on Wikipedia. You can go and read about how the disaster rolled. Some idiot forgot to keep the private key safe. And yeah, people are people, right? I can be an idiot someday, who knows? But it's human mistake. So the way to deal with security issues is to not let humans make mistakes. Make sure that we don't make mistakes, because we are known to make mistakes. We are people, right? We are not machines. We will make mistakes, and we love to make them. New ones, hopefully, every time. Not repeat the ones that we already did, because we are learning. But we are people. We make mistakes, and so it happens. It's unfortunate that nobody actually thought that you should not let a human maintain such secret information, and somebody accidentally leaked it. The recent case of these pictures flying on from iCloud, same thing, right? Somebody stole the password. It's not an iCloud hack. Somebody guessed the password. I don't know what happened. Nobody knows, at least I don't know. But the pictures leaked, and now we have humongous issues. that people talk about iCloud and the Apple Store and all that. You might have heard about what I'm talking about. You know, these things happen because they are people. These movie stars and celebrities, they are human beings. They can make mistakes. Then they might have written down the password and shared with their assistant. Or you don't know what they may have done, but somebody got access to the account login password and synchronized the pictures and boom.
At least they brute force the
Possible.
app that
You don't even.
have, well, I think they released a statement saying they brute force the password of an app that before they could get access to their iCloud.
Ouch. Yeah. So it happens, right? So we have to make sure when we create security keys like this, from a big organization's perspective, you need to absolutely doubly make sure to not let Amazon create keys for you, but you create yourself. And then you store the keys and rotate them every so often, every month, every week, whatever the frequency you like. And not let people manage it. Have another machine manage it and keep that machine in lock and guard, security guard. And have a machine, not even let a human being use that and even look at the key itself. I'll generate a key for you, just hold on. And see, you must have seen the keys, how it looks like. Have you? If you haven't, I'll do that. If you haven't seen it, let me break it, clear it up, put my glasses, and see my directories like this. So I don't have certain things, what we don't have. And I'll be generating a new key by the name Nitin right now. So I'll say SSH key gen, and I'll generate a new key of the, and put a comment called Nitin, like this. So it will embed and append this comment within some at the end of the key itself, and I will now generate the key. So I'll press enter. What happens is it says generating public private RSA key pair. Enter the name in which you want me to save the key. Right? So you're going to give a name here. So I'm going to give it a name, Nitin, just like that, and say enter. And it says enter a passphrase. You want to have a passphrase on top of the key. You can. I'm going to just pass for now. No need of a passphrase for right now, but it's a good idea to keep it. No, repeat the passphrase again. I'm going to say no, we don't want right now. I'll move on. And it generated a key. And it saved it somewhere. Where did it say? Let's figure it out. It says your identification key has been saved in a file called Nitin, and public key has been saved in a file called Nitin.pub. But these two files created somewhere. Let's see where they are. Here it is. These two files, Nitin and Nitin.pub. See that? So I'm going to open these two files and see what we have in here. Where is Nitin? You see that? Yeah, there it is. Nitin, this is the private key, and this is the public key. Public key is shorter. Let me make the whole thing visible clearly. This is how it looks like. It's a long string of characters, and at the end you'll say Nitin Sanghi. Okay? And go and examine the private key. It looks like this. A little bit longer than the public key. They are married. The public and private keys are married, so only the private key can open doors to a computer that has the public key stored somewhere in a specified location. Okay. What does it mean? Which specified location? So I talked about this specified location, but it means that if you are, let me access a remote computer in the cloud. I'll just talk about it in a specific context where exactly the key is stored, the public key. Right? So I just access to a remote computer in my DigitalOcean cloud. So that's what I'm using right now, DigitalOcean. It's a service provider, SSD-based virtual machines for $5 a month. Really cheap, really good. I see. Okay, hold on. I said solid state disk, SSD-based VM. Really good ones, really cheap. The name is DigitalOcean. And the pricing is really the best. See the pricing, and we have, what do we have? $5 a month, 512 MB RAM, 1 CPU, 20 GB SSD. Right? Really good pricing there. 20 GB hard disk, sorry, 20 GB solid state disk, and a complete machine running in the cloud for you with a a monthly price of $5 a month. Your hourly pricing is is it 7 cents or less than, yeah, less than a cent. You get 0.007, 0.007 per hour. So pretty dirt cheap. I like cheap, so I use them. Right? SSD, cheap, high performance, and they have multiple locations, and they are very good provider. They compete with Amazon on some scale, not really, but some scale. Good. I like them. I use them, so I have it, and I connect to that computer I just connected, and in there you will see that I have this folder. I'll go fast for now, but I'll come back again. And that is the location I want to talk to you about. Is this. So the location is pwd, this location. It is root flash .ssh, and the file that contains my public key is authorized underscore keys. That's the name, right? Authorized underscore keys, and that is the file that contains my public key. That's where it is supposed to be stored. Linux boxes assume and expect public keys to be stored in this file. It looks like this, which is my public key, and I can share it with you because it is public. There's nothing secret about it. I can share it publicly. It is public key, so I comfortably showed it to you, and even recorded it in the video. But I'm not sharing my private key to you because I'm supposed to be keeping it safe and private. It is only for me. Right? That's how it is supposed to be kept safe. So there is a corresponding private key that is saved somewhere in my laptop, not in the cloud. It's with me. And so that's how these public and private keys are used. So in real life, you will use your the Nitin file. This is the private file. You will keep it safe in your laptop in a specific location, and that location happens to be .ssh. Is where most people keep it. So the path to that would be tilde.ssh, meaning the home folder and a subfolder called .ssh, which is hidden underneath that. That's the location where most people keep the keys. This is where you would keep your private key. Like the file would go in here, like this. And the other file you have, which is nitin.pub, this goes to your remote computer in the cloud. And it gets stored in the remote.ssh/ authorized keys file. Is the name correct? Yes. Yeah, that's the name of the file that stores your public key. Right? So this public key goes in this location, in that remote computer, in that folder. Got that point? See? So that's the combination that we will now create, the private and public key combination, and inject our public key into the remote computer in the Amazon cloud, use the corresponding private key that we will have, that we already have here, Nitin, and I'll use the Nitin private key and the Nitin.pub public key in my Amazon account. And then ask Amazon to create a machine, and then we'll connect to it. Right? That's the plan. So let me spend 2 cents, and I will now launch an instance. As simple as that. And so I'm going to launch my favorite version of Ubuntu, which is 14.04 long-term supported version. You can launch Windows also if you like. You can launch a whole host of different operating systems like Amazon, AMI. This is the Amazon Linux. It's a derivative of Red Hat Linux. You can run Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You can run SUSE, whatever that Linux is. How do you say that thing?
SUSE.
I've heard SUSE also. I don't know, some German. Then we have Ubuntu, which is an African word for something like freedom. I don't know exactly, but Ubuntu is an African word. Then we have Microsoft Server 2012 R2. We have more Microsoft versions and more Microsoft versions, and it goes on and on. But there are tons and tons of machine images, Amazon machine images, or AMI, available for us to take the machine image, put it on the hard disk, and boot the machine up. That's what essentially we will be doing right now, is take a prepared, ready-made machine image, AMI that we have access to here. And so I will be taking this Ubuntu server AMI. And every AMI has an ID number. You take that AMI and select it. And say I want to get a medium size, small size, whatever box size I want, depending on how much budget I have. And for now, it's just a test. So I'll get the T2 micro, the T1, T2 micro, T2 small, T2 medium, whatever size I like. I'll just get that click. General purpose machine with 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, elastic block storage. And then I click on that and then go to configure my instance details. Here I have number of instances, I just want one. And I need to use the VPC that I have created. Most of these are defaults. I'll go Windows West and then I submit settings or not. So most of these settings I'll go with default, but one thing I'm trying to look for is the key, which is the key pair I want to provide to Amazon, which I haven't yet. Amazon doesn't even know Nitin and Nitin.pub. We need to first tell before I create a machine. I'm going to use my Nitin private key, and here's the public key. Please take from me, and then use that to create a machine so you can inject that particular file into the authorized key file before it boots. Because after it boots, you can do nothing with it. Before even the machine boots, you need to inject this Nitin.pub and put that in that location and then boot the machine. And when it boots, you can just connect to it because you have the private key. That's what we intend to do. You got the picture, right? So I need to find a way to provide my public key to Amazon. That's what I intend to do now. So before I start a machine, I will go back to my EC2 front page here and look at the key pair combo here. And here I have two choices. I can either create a key pair, meaning I'll ask Amazon to create a key pair for me, the blue button, or otherwise I will import a key pair, meaning I create myself a key pair and give Amazon the public copy, like this. And so I'll say go here, desktop, home, Nitin.pub. See what I'm doing? I'm grabbing the Nitin.pub file and giving it to Amazon, so that Amazon will know what I have, and here they go. It read my public copy, Nitin.pub, and I'm going to import it into Amazon and call it. Here we go. It has this name, which I don't like. I want to change the name. I've changed that before. I will import, delete, import again. I'm going to give a name Nitin, and then the file is chosen already. No file chosen. Nitin.pub. Open, and then we have the name Nitin here, and say import. It has a proper name as opposed to this fake path. And so now I have a name there, Nitin, and the key fingerprint here, and all Amazon knows about is the public copy of the key that I just created for you. And I have the private and public both. Right? So I have given them the key. Next I will go back here to EC2 dashboard and now create a machine. Now I have three key pairs, by the way, as you saw. Go back to dashboard, launch an instance, and select Ubuntu, select, and continue the configuration details. And now I'm going to review the launch instructions. In here, I need to somewhere provide the key. Where is that? What does it say on top? Security groups are open. The one thing I think we should also examine is the security groups, whether the port to Amazon is open or not. That's what I'm going to check also before I create a machine, which is I'm going to look for security groups which are opening up ports on the Amazon cloud, and I want to make sure that the default port in the default group, the default security group has inbound ports number 22 open, and they are. That's another thing I want to check. I have some other ports also open in the default route. I have too many routes here, too many security groups, but focus on the default security group that you have in your account. And in there, look for the default group and make sure it opens up SSH port number 22 because that's how we will enter. That is also taken care of. We have our key pair taken care of by adding the public key. We have our security group with port number 22 allowing us to enter into the cloud. And now is the time to launch an instance, really, this time. So we'll go select configuration and just making sure I find the appropriate place to add my key, which I think comes when you click the launch button. And there is the key that I want to use an existing key pair, and I use Nitin key pair, and I acknowledge that I have the corresponding private key. Trust me, Amazon, I have it. I acknowledge that I have access to the selected private key nitin.pem file. Without this file, I would not be able to log in. They just clearly ask us to acknowledge and sign off in blood. Trust me, I have my private key with me. And then you launch an instance. And this is a new change that Amazon just did to make sure to alert people, to prompt them and sign off. Yes, I have my private key. Please start the machine work. What used to happen in prior classes is people will just sign up the machine and try log in and they don't have the key. And then they start, I created the machine, I cannot access it. What's going on? And so people gave them feedback. Obviously, they made it simple, super obvious that you have to have the private key in your hand before you launch the machine. Otherwise, it's a wasteful launch. Because the moment you launch the machine, you will spend 2 cents, or at least 2 cents for the next hour. So let me spend that money and launch. So I just did. We need power supply.
This one's not going to charge it. It's keep it level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you need Dell?
I forgot
Oh,
my
yeah.
brick.
A lot of things to watch this. Ouch.
You
Yeah, it
can
might work.
borrow one for
So up until now, whatever we are doing, is this interesting, boring? How are we doing? Useful, not useful, rudimentary, too trivial,
no, it's new.
new? Not for Conrad, I can see. I can see on his, I can read his mind.
So as soon as we lose the private key,
You lose the
Yes,
private
no
key, you lose
more.
the machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Essentially, you lose the machine. Right? So you want to destroy the machine in that case. Because there is no point in like losing the private key. It's better to just destroy it. Otherwise, somebody else will access it. Right? If you lose the key, somebody will steal your information. You don't want that. If you
Yeah.
lose the key, you can either lose as in forget in your home, which is okay.
Yeah.
But if you lose as in let it go on the internet, somebody else will grab the key and access your computer and create havoc. You don't want that.
so if you accidentally delete it or something,
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot
How-
access. There is
Yeah.
no way to access the machine.
how can we tell Amazon to basically?
You cannot.
Oh.
No, they can do nothing about it. If you lose the key, you are dead. I mean, sorry, your machine is dead.
You can destroy it, but you can't.
No, what I'm
Yeah,
saying
go
is,
for it.
can you destroy it?
Yes, you can destroy through the portal, through many other methods. You can kill the machine even without a key. You can like unplug the power, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you unplug the power into the battery and it's dead.
Yeah.
And throw the OS away, wipe the hard disk clean and all that. You can
Sure.
still do, but once you lose your key, you cannot control the machine. Effectively, you're done with the machine.
Yeah.
The machine is dead for you.
Yeah.
You can
Uh,
still stop paying and delete the computer,
Mm.
and it's virtual machines in the cloud. Amazon has virtual machines essentially. They'll run something like VirtualBox. They'll run Zen for their hypervisors to run these machines in Amazon. So once you delete that hypervisor and the whole box is gone, it's gone. Then you have nothing.
Okay.
And so you lost your key, you leave the box, and you're done. You move on. You do something else. You create a new machine for that. But once you lose the key, it is gone for good. And so right now it tells me that my instance is launching. And so I think it must have launched by now. So I'm now going to connect to that instance. So I'm going to see how to connect to it. So before I connect to it, I need to know its IP address. So I click on the machine image here, and I look down, and I find that it has an IP address. This is the private IP, but I want to find out the public IP. Do I have a public IP? No, not yet. Public IP is blank. Like without the public IP, I cannot enter. Because these are internal IP addresses. So I need to provide a public IP to this machine. All I got was a private IP from Amazon. And I think that it's still initializing, so it might give us a public IP once the status initialization completes. So when that happens, I'm expecting it to give us a public IP. It is still doing some work, like initialization of checks. And when that finishes, I'm expecting a public IP. And when I get that, what I intend to do is something like this. On the terminal, I will type SSH -I Nitin to give the Nitin private key file, and then I'll say Ubuntu at that public IP address, and that will let me in. Okay. That's what I intend to do once the public IP address becomes visible to me. I will use this command to enter that machine because I have the private key which I have stored in my home directory. That's where it got created. You know the tilde notation, do you? This concept of tilde that I'm saying, this character is called tilde. You familiar with that? It basically conveys that you're talking about your home folder, to be precise. So in Unix language, the home folder would be /home/your username, something like that. That will be the home folder. It is denoted as tilde. It is spelled as PILDE, the Greek letter. So when I say tilde, I mean this character, and I actually mean your home folder under the /home, which is your name Nitin, for example, or Michael, or Ubuntu in case of Amazon Ubuntu machines. Yeah. That will be the name. It may be in certain providers will use the name root. And when it is root, it is not this, but this. Just a slight nomenclature and folder structure that people in Linux world use. If it is root, it is directly on the root. Otherwise, it is like this. And so let's go back in Amazon and see if we have 2 of 2 checks completed. Let's refresh. Does it give a public IP these days? I think we had to provide a public IP to it. It did not give us. We had to give a public IP.
During the launch sequence, you gotta ask for it.
Did not. I think I have to allocate a public IP. So I will have to create that in within the launching. So I'll just make it easier. I'll go back to the dashboard, ignore the machine I have. This one, sorry. Go back to the dashboard and create a new instance. So the running instance I have, I will ignore it. Maybe I'll just delete it like this, and I'll lose 2 cents. Where is that? The neat. I think they changed. They need us to, like I said, in the launch sequence. So let's say launch sequence and read that carefully again. Select, and then configuration details. In here, auto assign enable. That's what I forgot to set. And then we should be okay, right? Yep. Add review. And in here, in the review steps, nothing much changes. We'll launch, and we'll say Nitin here, like this, and say I acknowledge, and I launch the instance. and then I go back to my EC2 machine, and the other one I want to destroy. That is running instance I have. This one that is running, I want to go to the actions and say terminate.
Good practice would be a name.
I know. I'll get to that. Yeah, naming is a much better idea. And there are lots of practice. We actually will eventually, when we get to the second month, we'll spin these instances up to what's known as Knife. Knife is a full part of Chef software. Chef is an open source software for configuration management in the cloud. So we'll use that in our second month. We'll go quite a bit in that detail, which is pretty interesting. You know, it's one of the
Yeah. The reason I bring up naming is that all of us are sharing one Amazon account, so when we look at the set of virtual machines, we need to be able to tell the names from mine, from.
Totally. And in fact, naming is so easy. You can just name Nitin or the bad one.
Same key pair can be used for multiple.
Bad idea, but yes.
You
Or
can't,
technically.
I use the same key pair for all of mine, but you would be using your key pair.
You're right. So my key pair for all my units, and then I would have.
That's my preference. I don't run an operational environment.
You're not secure in any way.
I'm experiment.
So I just named the machine within, and the other one I named the bad one, and I'm going to delete the bad one like this. You can name it very easily. Just say really bad machine, or something like does not have a public IP. You can basically name whatever you like. Or you can even give a public IP and use it. It's not really bad. You can create an elastic IP, associate elastic IP to it, and then use it. In simple concept, when you're doing this elastic IP addition business, what you should think of is something like this. You have a box. It has a NIC card. And it has one more NIC card. NIC card is an Ethernet card, or something that you connect to Ethernet cable to, through which you can get internet. The one that you can hook up to the wall, that kind of Ethernet cable. And so these cards, if you are inside your firewall, this is in, this is out. And so inside your firewall, you have a corporate firewall, or maybe at home it is your router, and you get at home you get 192.168. something address. These are all internal IP addresses assigned to this port, this particular NIC. But when you're assigning a public IP address, you get it here in this location. And that is what is missing from the machine that I first created. So I do not have an external IP from, say, Quest or Comcast or something like that, which is not a 192 address. Right? You know what 192 addresses are? You know this concept of address spacing? Let's see. You know, if you do not know, please tell me to roll back, and I will roll back to any level of depth you want. So just don't assume. I don't know what you don't know. I don't know what you know. So either way, you should tell me, and that's how I think we should operate in the class. Don't make me assume bad stuff. Don't make me assume anything. Just tell me if it is good or not. We'll have no idea. Like I'm assuming you're top-notch going, quick shots. You know everything. That's my assumption. But and by the way, we are people. Not everybody knows everything, right? Let's be honest. I don't know many things. You know certain things that I may not be aware of. So let's exchange that. And let's understand where we are and figure out if we don't know something, we'll go to the internet and find out. Right? That's how it should work. So if you don't know anything or something, you just say, hey, tell me again. What was that again? Why did you say 192? What's the special thing about? Or what is this NIC? And what is that NAT? And I mentioned these phrases. I drop phrases occasionally without thinking about it. If you don't know that, stop me. Hey, Nilesh, tell me again. What was that again? And it's totally okay. And it's totally welcome. If you don't do that, I will feel bad about me. Honestly. I feel bad because I want you to succeed. I'm doing this course for you as individuals, not for Boeing. You did not realize that. It is not a Boeing class. It is your class. I want you to be successful. Honestly, Boeing might become successful because of you, but that's not my primary goal. My primary goal is you. But I want you to really learn, adopt something new so that you become, and here is a catchword. I want you to become Back in India, I used to be, you probably know what this thing is. I used to be a government officer. You know what the IAS is? That was me. I was third rank in India. I was a big shot officer in India.
IAS is,
Like think of
BBC did a survey. It was considered to be the toughest exam to pass in the whole world at one point of time. So you need to really study very hard.
I'll give you a simple analogy. This lady we have called Hillary Clinton. Like she is, what is she? Secretary of
She was.
Secretary of State, right? Similar to her, there is Secretary of Energy. So I was Secretary of Energy in India, and I negotiated with Enron, that ugly company, to create a double power project. You know double? That is my project. It's like 17 years ago when they used to visit us and all that. So I did that work, and then I moved to the US to study for my MBA. So I come from the reason I say that is I'm still learning. I'm not done. And I want that thing that I have, which I did. In that service, by the way, I have guarantee of employment. If nobody can fire that officer because they are appointed by the president, and so nobody could fire me. But I still left that job because what I think is it is not guarantee of employment that is important, but the guarantee of employability. It doesn't even matter whether it's Boeing or Microsoft or somebody else. It is about us. It's about us to improve and keep ourselves employable. Doesn't matter who the employer is. Yeah, Boeing is a great company, and so is Microsoft, and so is everybody else. We are companies. We work together to create something. But it's at the end of the day, it is about us. For us to remain continuously employable in this company or that company or something else or our own business or you name it. And that's the thing I want to enable for you. With this guarantee of employability. If it is not going fine, here. It's about us. It's about people, not about companies. It's never about companies. It's about us. That's how you should think of. You may not agree with what I said, and that's okay. I still have my opinion. Right? So that's how you should think. It's about you. I want you to learn. And if we don't know the answer, we'll find out. I don't say that I know everything. Nobody knows everything. I've not met such a guy. I don't want to meet that guy because I know who he is. I think he's the God. And I'm not in a hurry to meet him. So I don't want to die, really. So yes, I haven't met that person. Don't want to meet him. We are people, we want to learn. If I say something you do not relate to, do not understand, want more clarification, if you do not stop me, I will feel bad. Because I want each one of you to be successful in whatever you want to do going forward. Continue with going, leave something, do something else, start your own business like I did, whatever that is. It is essentially about finding out what we want to do and keep doing it better. That's the idea, right? It is about us, not about anybody else. If you don't stop me, I really feel bad about it. If you haven't seen my prior students in this class talking about the class, you should see those videos. I think you saw one of those. Right? See those videos. They are. You go to the website and on the upper right corner there is an little orange button. Click on that and play. There are 3 or 4 videos, and I have more. I have a whole YouTube channel full of students talking about me. But let's not go there. I want you to be really, really happy. Not because I am a good person, but because you learned something. That's what I want you to really accomplish in the next 3 months. End up whenever December 1st, whenever we finish. That's not the end game. That's the starting point. I want you to evolve into something better than what you are today. I want to do a comparison of before and after, honestly. Before the class, after the class. What was the delta? What was the difference? What did we learn together? That's what I want to enable. And that's the reason why your employer Boeing is spending money on you, because you know why they spend money on you? Because if they don't, you will spend money on your own and do something else. You would rather keep a smart person and keep them happy so that they keep with you and not run away. That's what Boeing is spending money on you. Right? They want to retain you. They want to invest in you. That's why they're sponsoring your class. There is no other reason. Because they like you. And they want to train you so that you don't run away. If they do not train you, they will be left with people who are not really capable. They will keep on improving, refining, and they'll spend money on you to improve your skill set. Essentially what's going on. That's why they sponsor you for this lab. That's how most companies want to keep their employees because they like them. They want to improve upon the skill level. And things evolve in the space of technology. Every single day you find something new. I find something new. And we need to keep track of this. I study a whole lot myself every single day to keep the material new. Whatever I teach and learn and interact, keep it fresh. Otherwise, I will become stale. And if I become stale, I cannot feed my family. This is my business. This is the only business I have. I cannot put you to snooze or sleep in the class. I cannot afford that. You know why? It is my bread and butter. I cannot afford that. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not a college professor. I do not get paid if you don't succeed. As simple as that. I want you, each one of you to be successful, and you define what success means, not me. You define what you want, and we'll make it happen. That's what I want to accomplish. I want you to be successful, and that is the only way I get paid. There is no other way. Nobody pays me money here. This is a business that you are running. They happen to be a partner with us, Lake Washington. We share the revenue. I do not get salary. You realize that. Nobody pays me salary. I get a revenue portion from them because I want you to be successful. Because what happens is you are successful. What's the next thing that happens? You go and talk about it. And that attracts more people. That's how I plan to grow. That's my plan. That's my real, honest truth. I want that to happen. For which I want you to be really successful and talk good things about me because you really enjoy what we do together. That's the only way I plan to make money long term. There is no shortcut to it. There is no magical shortcut here. This is the only way I know that unless you say good things about me and unless you actually learn something useful, I cannot continue to make money. Practical, honest truth. This is how it is. So I want you to stop me and say, Nilesh, please explain again. Or maybe, Nilesh, you are wrong. You are an idiot. This is not how it is. It's okay to say that because this is not a professor. There is no pass and fail here. Right? There is no professor here. I don't see him. Do you see him? No. They don't exist. We don't care about them. We care about what we want. And we'll make it happen. Alright? So let's go back. Roll back. And understand what this NIC thing is and the IP address scheme is. So there is an RFC, and we talk about RFC later on. But let me give you a simple nutshell. So here's the network utility. And you see the IP address I have from Lake Washington Institute of Technology is, see that? This number. You saw that? That's the IP address I have for the network card, which is my airport card here, this one. Right, this is the airport card, and I have channel number 11, security none, it's open Wi-Fi access, and the mode is 802.11.g. That's the Wi-Fi capability of the antenna on the other side. And that's how I'm connected. And I have an IP address assigned to me by Lake Washington, not by the public internet. And the router there, we have somewhere here, I don't know where, has assigned me this IP address. If you look at your computers, you have a slightly different IP address. Probably the last digit will change. But here, 13, you have, what's your numbers? So yeah, so we have the same thing, pretty much the same thing except slightly changing in numbers. So we have 20 or something like that. It can go up to like 255, for example. That's the range. And typically the router will take number 1, router itself, the router there. And we'll have, like, this is Nilesh's laptop, so we'll have the name Nilesh. And here you have Michael.
You all have internet at home. So your computers are not.
Pretty much similar. We can have a network like this, and you can configure it something like.
We have Comcast modem or DSL modem that's acting as a route.
So the Comcast guy gives you a cable line, basically the black wire that comes in like this. Right? It connects to a cable modem. And this cable modem gives you a public IP address, which is not 192, by the way. It doesn't begin with 192. It begins something else. It can be whatever it is. It's the whole domain on the internet that is possible, and Comcast will get a part of it, and they'll assign one of that numbers to you, to your Comcast modem, for example. And then here you connect your router. And the router has one coming in and multiple ports going out. Some of them are even wireless. Okay? You have a certain number of ports that are wired ports on the router, and then others you can connect to wireless. The wired or wireless doesn't matter. They are all inside your home. So people from outside cannot access machines inside. There is a firewall here. But nobody can come inside. You can go outside, but nobody can come inside from outside. Got it? That's the layer called network address translation, also known as firewall, available in your router. Built in. It's there. There was a recent OpenSSL bug called Heartbeat. You might have heard that. You might have seen a video of me talking about Heartbeat on YouTube somewhere. So I give talks in public occasionally, and on topics of current interest. The recent one I gave on, you know this thing called Heartbeat. You familiar with this concept? There was a recent talk that I gave on Heartbeat. So similar to that talk, I occasionally talk, and I talked about Heartbeat, which was a bug in OpenSSL, an open source algorithm for security and connecting to the computers. So that bug exists in many routers. So if your home router is still vulnerable, please update your firmware. That's what I'm saying, essentially. Check for this Heartbeat bug in your router, in your home. Make sure it is closed out, patched up. Do that. Seriously. Remember to do that. Go home, check for Heartbeat issues in your home router. You can very simply do that by starting Chrome browser and look at a Heartbeat plugin. And that will tell you whether your home router is infected or not. I mean, impacted or not. Open source, OpenSSL, I think 1.01a through F. These are vulnerable. The G is not. The newer versions of OpenSSL library are not. So remember to do that. Remember to update your firmware in your router. As I say that, and I'll continue. So in that router, you will have one port that looks outside, the NIC card outside, and then multiple NICs or ports looking inside. And this range is typically called the internal or private IP addresses. It is typically in this range, 192.168, and there is a RFC 1917 request for comments by the Internet Consortium that talks about this particular port range in the private domain. Let's see RFC 1917. What does it say? RFC 1917, and it says IETF. Is it the right RFC number? This is way too complex for us to discuss right now, but the idea is one of these IETF RFCs actually describes succinctly what naming, numbering schemas are available for internal use inside your home, inside your company, inside a private networks. So 1918 RFC, that one is it succinctly defines which range of addresses is supposed to be used internal, and everything else in the domain naming space is outside. Meaning, I need to put DNB. Somebody starts pinging me. It's evening time and India wakes up. Sorry, disable this. Do not disturb. Notifications do not disturb until I turn it on. Here also, do not disturb is on. Sweet. So in the convention is if you have certain addresses like 10 dot something, these boxes that I just draw, they range from 1 through 255. And so the IP address numbering scheme is like 4 boxes, think of them like this. And then you have an IP address that you can clear out of it. The range is from 1 to 255, and that's how IP addresses are typically structured. If the first number is, I think, 10 dot 10.1, 2, and 3, then it is a private network. 192.168 is private network. 172 dot something. I need to refer the RFC, but these addresses are internal only addresses. Everything else is. That's a local host specific. It's like for every computer, that is the address. It's called the machine. This machine, that machine. You can refer to your own machine by this IP address. It's the machine. I mean the local host. It is this box or that box. Only for you. Nobody else can. That machine can access that machine by that number, which is this number. And that is 127.0.0.1. That's the convention. So that's the RFC convention that we just mentioned, 1918. So these are the numbers that are private. Everything else is on the public internet. So this translation of addresses needs to happen, and that router is exactly what it does for you. If you look at same concept here in AWS, you have the same thing going here. There is these guys are giving us. So let me just delete that machine, for example. This one, connect and terminate, and say yes. We don't have it confusing us. With the other machine, we have a public IP address. There we go. So let's copy that, bring it here, and see it is not 192. And by the way, let's also look at the private IP. It is 172, which is a private range, similar to the 10 dot I mentioned, and the 172 dot that I mentioned. These are all private, and these are public ranges. Oh, sorry. This is a public IP address, not a range. These ranges, these are examples of private IP addresses. So now that we have access to our public IP on the machine that we just created in Amazon, we should be able to run the same command that I was thinking of and say SSH -I Nitin, and then say Ubuntu at IP address. This should work, right? Are you able to see it properly? Can we make it bigger?
Oh, I'm
See it? Okay. See. So should I enter now, or are we missing anything? We give the key, say -I command option, and then we have a username. We also have the IP address. I think it should work. So let's give it a shot. It says the authenticity of this particular host 54 dot whatever cannot be established. I don't know if it is the right machine you think it is. That's the real question. Do you trust it? Because the RSA fingerprint is this. Are you sure? I think I'm pretty sure because we got the IP address from Amazon. We just ordered it. There's no hackers involved yet. So we can say yes to it. And it can create a cache copy of this this fingerprint, store it in a particular file. I'll show you just now after we connect. But let's go in, and it will actually connect to that cloud computer right now. And there it connected. And so we are now in the Amazon cloud. And we can examine which computer this is, and we'll say uname -a, and it is running Linux with an IP address of the internal one that we got earlier. Is that the internal number? 172.16, the same IP address, this one. And we can compare it back with Amazon, and it's the same internal IP address here. See that? You want to make it bigger? And that is the same IP address we have here. And it is running Linux, and it is 64-bit, and all that good stuff. So we have it, we connected. We can just exit out from here by saying EXIT, and we are back out.
Because it has an internal IP and an external IP, does that mean that here it has two NICs?
In practice, it has actually 2 NICs, except those NICs are virtual.
I don't know if there's two next, so I think they're going to do it now.
Potentially. We're going to study how they do it, but think of it as if it's a computer with 2 NICs. For simplicity of understanding.
Yeah.
There's 2 NIC cards, one is public facing, one is internal facing, when Amazon is associating, allocating IP addresses, internal ones. So in theory, if you actually enter that building inside Amazon with your laptop and hook up to the Ethernet cable, you can then connect to the same computer using the private IP address, provided you are inside the building. But they'll never let you inside the building, so that's ruled out. You have to be outside the building. And the only way to access is through the public IP address. So it's more of a shortcut.
VPN or something.
It's a concept of, in some sense, we are actually creating a private network. We can use SSH to create a VPN. Using SSH, you can tunnel and create a subnet here. A subnet as in a small range of private IP addresses that you can map it as if it is inside Amazon and have these machines and those machines party together in a private LAN. And parties locates. Those parties, you probably remember LAN parties. Yes. But those LAN parties, you can conceptually create a setup where you have some machines, physical computers here, are in the same subnet as if they, in the same subnet that the Amazon machine we just created. The same concept applies. And I think now is a good time for you to create your key and create a machine in the cloud, in the Amazon cloud using your free account. Use a tiny, small one, whatever you have. And just do it for your own before he gives you like Uber access.
That's it. Both the credentials.
I created the key, we're going to import the key or
We need to somehow tell Amazon, hey, I have a key. Use this. Don't ask Amazon to create a key. Because if you do, they create a key for you, and they'll give you only the private copy, not the public copy. This is fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a security principle. Do you trust them or not? As simple as that. We decided in this case to not trust them. And so we chose to create our own key called Nitin. Right? And so we gave them our public key, and they started a machine and we are able to connect to it. No problem. It worked. For your case, you have two choices. Asking Amazon to create a key or creating a key yourself and then giving Amazon, hey, here's my public key. Take it. What do you want to do? That's the question.
So I went to the Amazon website and then I created a key.
So did you click the create key button?
Yeah.
I see. Then it must have given you a private key download. Did it give you?
No. I mean, so just created this.
No, you should get a download, like right there. When you click the create key pair button, it will immediately give you a download. Like right then and there.
No, I didn't get.
So delete the keys, they're useless. If you don't have the private key, these keys are useless. There's no meaning to it.
Yeah.
So delete them all, one by one. And make sure to create it one more time while I'm watching so I can see what's going on. Just give it a name, call it Nitin, and say create. Don't have to in the key pair, it's obvious. And so go hit create, and it should give you a download.
Oh.
That will give you a download file. Bingo. Yes. Download the private key that you can save in your folder somewhere. Where did it go? Oh, this IE sucks.
Use Firefox when you're looking at it from the Amazon console. Works much better.
How easy is eating the private key? I told you, you created iOS 6 keys already. Do you just in the key part? You ask Amazon to pay and you pay yourself? Yourself. You gave the public key to them? Oh, you should do that first. Give the public key to them, say, here, they import my key pair, give them the key pair. You put in the proxy, but otherwise you get stuck. Right, so, oh, you got the private credentials, so you use them. Absolutely. These will probably be something that we did not yet discuss. Those keys that I've Conrad, did you give them Amazon access credentials or the key pair like we're talking about?
I give them Amazon access credentials, so they create from people.
Aha. So here's something that I want to ask you, without since I don't exactly know what you gave them. I would like to ask you, did you give them IAM accounts?
Yeah.
I see. Do they have users and login names or passwords, or do they have
Yes.
AWS and secret and key, or what do they have?
So,
Let me show you. So you have this concept of
they've got a URL to go to, they've got a username to use and password to use to log in.
sweet. So make sure you are able to log in, and then you create your own keys, either asking Amazon or you create your key on your computer, which I guess you cannot so easily because it needs a Linux or Mac for the SSH keygen part, unless you're using Putty already and you're comfortable using Putty to create a key, which you've probably not done before, so I can guide you if you want.
Windows should be
Why
able
you
to
send it
do
in?
key
Yeah,
generation.
Windows can create key pair with Putty.
I-
Putty keygen. Putty has a keygen too.
You know, those ones,
Let's see that.
it's your choice which one you want to use. Now I gave you a.
Yeah, so if
Well,
you
is
don't want,
it Andrew Calkins at Cloud?
No, I sent you an email.
Right.
Had a URL to use.
I used it.
we send you your boring email.
Yep.
So check your boring
No, I
email,
have
find
it.
password and then.
So go to that URL,
Yep.
use that password.
No.
I'll try that.
What is the parameter to deploy the keygen and then
Say dash.
Go to that URL.
Capital C.
cyphers?
Space.
The C is for cipher.
Comment.
Oh, comment.
C is for comment. This is lower C.
I
This
see.
is capital C.
Okay.
Capital C is comment. And then in quotes put your name.
Like that.
Enter. So you read carefully, it will tell you where it is saving. So you make sure that you give a key name,
Yeah.
give it a name like Philip, and then you proceed.
Do I use this one?
So you cannot find out something because what is supposed to be hidden. It's all described like this, right? So did you create a key and where did you store your key in the first? In your rocket set. And then you can click that will export your rocket and open your right.
Yes.
So now you can access it. So and when you're done, you can just add it and delete it. So name the job that you say in your home. In your home. And that's it. So many things that can be done. I really know. Yes.
You know, I thought it said save in here. Right?
It must have saved in your home. because you did not give the complete path.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
this is where it suggests.
It probably went to your home. How are you doing?
Okay.
It's extremely slow using Firefox. Sharing around.
Figure out a trick, man. Ask Conrad how to solve problem.
I'm not having any difficulties with.
Try closing the browser and refreshing it. Maybe your internet is slow. Maybe that's the issue.
So I don't know. Windows is working very fast. But it's just the Firefox.
Ah. So this lockdown environment,
You having trouble with Firefox?
Yeah.
Is it saying invalid proxy server or something?
No. No, so it is working. It's extremely slow.
Um,
Like,
in Microsoft, we used to set up machines on our own. We never use IT support. So every day I install a new version of Windows. That's 90 build. And so it's kind of dramatically opposite of what you are experiencing, which is locked down laptop. In the other case, where you get raw Windows like fresh from the previous night, and you install raw from some network. Then you begin and you set up your administrator password and then you begin using it. That is a nightly operation for developers. It used to be like that. Which is diametrically opposite extreme of this.
Yeah.
Lockdown laptop, total open Wild West. It was Wild West for us.
Yeah, I remember when it was my first day there, they just showed me a room and here's your machine and this and that. You go set up everything yourself.
I know. You were at Microsoft, were you?
Was contracting there. Then when I
For some
came
reason,
to Boeing, it's just like
Same.
everything
same.
ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can I please take a quick break?
Yeah, I was wondering, should we take a quick break?
Oh, please. Yeah, that should be that way. If you want a good drinking water, there is a very good supply of drinking water here. You just need to go to the library and we have the app. You can fill your own water bottle. It's nice. I mean, really professional. And if you need to just have a bottle, they don't have bottle supplies. Right? Bring your bottle of very good water. Right there.
It was on like ordering?
No, it depends on what service.
No, I've never used.
Oh, okay.
Orders? So this is like corporate. Just if I create anything, just be sure to close it down. Or shut it off.
Yeah. You know, and that's the virtual machine. You will destroy it, or if you've done a bunch of configuration you don't want to recreate it.
And if you turn it off, does it cost anything? Or?
So you can
so I just save the file again in the desktop. PDF file. PDF file.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So when you get the PM file, to use it with PuTTY, you have to translate it. With PuTTY command, translate it from PuTTY.
It's given the option open with notepad or save files.
Oh, this one's
Save.
you worked with the very good program before?
Oh no, this is not this.
English? That's something,
Oh.
you,
Yeah, so I filled up the form, I spoke to the manager, once you fill that exception form at the bottom, it goes to the manager, once he clears it, then you're approved. And then we can add those steps. So I can walk you. Your manager is approved.
yeah,
Okay. And I can look about that exception.
Yeah, so I go to EC2.
You also go to, use that main menu, so.
So creating my
Okay. So if I want to start one of the launch, that's that way.
They call it virtual machine.
Guys. So I want this one.
They like to-
I see.
Then now that I generate the change, should I pick up and then
Did you
send?
give Amazon the key?
Not yet.
There goes the virtual machine.
Oh,
Go to the orange box. Orange.
Oh.
EC2.
So that, do the text,
oh, that's different.
so already do that.
Import.
So put it in here.
This is the key, and it's the key in the file. So now I just
You should be getting
So should I just not
Oh,
put
that
it
is
on
actually
right
very
now?
So I just have one.
It's your key, the focus on key. You have to only to import.
Oh,
Amazon please import.
Also, public keys already done that.
Okay, we have that. They gave you the direct copy.
so I could
Add
add.
the public for them. So you can inject public in every
Right,
machine.
if you had a Windows machine.
Machine I create and revert this as. So I just go to
You can do the orange box, then start.
And you can also create your own names.
See your dashboard, say, blue box.
So you could theoretically launch a Windows box.
What it was
Create a new directory.
Go down, there, or select button. And then there's a smaller size, good. Here, all that, go down.
Or
Provision details.
to make it probably more simple, you just put all the virtual machines in the same security. Default behavior. Everybody can see.
Oh, there you go.
That was
Right, so go ahead and launch.
Have you opened up your security ports? Security
I don't
ports?
want to configure any of this stuff.
We're all good. Okay, so check the door. How does it do that?
No, I haven't. But I can.
I just, yeah, you can create your own and then upload it and then upload it and then be able to download it.
All of them.
I want to
Garbage.
everything.
So, kind of scary, but it's okay. All are open.
Go ahead.
If you want, actually.
I'm always open.
But only when you.
So, yes.
it's a good idea to knock everything down, open only what you need.
So what do I use socks for?
You have to, you have to company.
So if I want to create my own security key, buddy,
Do you want to? You can.
I wouldn't mind working now.
Walk you through. I need to look at your cookie gen software. If you go to here, you want to click on the generate button and read. Read what it says. Please generate some randomness by moving around. Move your mouse randomly around. It will be like. And as soon as it is done, capturing enough randomness, it will complete the algorithm to create a key. This is like random seed information that is needed to generate a key. That's what it is doing, asking your mouse motion as a random parameter to create a key. Once you have enough randomness, you say, yeah, I have it. And there it is. You have to read again very carefully. Public key from pasting into open source. That whatever the language is the public key. So this is the one actually copy very clean. Do not miss out on any elements. Parts beginning or ending. Yes. You do not miss. At the very end of the page here. See that there is nothing else missing in the end. Got it. That's the public key. Got it. Let's give it a file. I say that. Then give it a name. And then you can call it. Do not muck around with the content of the key. You continue with it. Because public key.php is a good way to actually call it a good way to name it. I would rather name it and do.up. Do the text one. That's what I would name it. Okay. That's a convention I would suggest that you use.
Okay.
And save up, save it. Here, you have to read one more time. Fill that key fingerprint, that key comment. There's a key password, which is none. You have the option to change your key.
So this is what you did through the command line, but it's just the GUI.
GUI. That's for Windows people.
That's me.
It's like generating a particular key.
Okay.
By hand.
Okay.
So
So
a comment you can even modify. If you don't like the RSA key comment, you can there. There. Key password you can add. But looking at here, you just modify the public.
oh,
So you go and change the file also. You go change the file, contract. Open publisher. Ouch.
you tricked me.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, we'll go open this and say, okay. I'm so sorry. Ouch. It's a good night. It should be. You need to be the private information. Now we do have. There it is. There it is. Bingo.
So
Awesome.
what do I do with this then?
Now let's look at the key comment, which giving the passphrase. Right. Now the next step is actions. We take them now. Generate a public. We can do this manually. It will be good for us. Keep it. so sorry. I'm not using it. I've never used it. So 40. So yeah, it will be the same steps in the beginning. So we not take on more. They will probably save public key and save traffic key over the button, not generate buttons filling it. But use this too. I mean, I have once or twice I've used it. I don't use it. Yeah. So I have to change the comment. Maybe I do. So remember to delete that whole file. You will save the public key and the private key. Public key is fine. You save the control. Use the right location. Right? Yes. The private key, yes. Save it. And remember the main extension here is not pen, not problem, or not the PPK. Everything they want. Okay. Because remember here that when you have that, save it. You generate a PPK file. You have it. That's it. For key-based private key format. Okay, it is not usable in SSH. Only to what you will work.
Okay. SSH is really limited. Okay.
So it works with Putty only.
Okay.
But you can create a M file for Linux people using the same thing. The PPK file works with Putty only. Exclusively works. Putty can use that no problem. How to connect. Using Putty, how to connect the Amazon class. You do that. Just like everybody else is doing. Except you're doing the advanced bit, which is using Putty to create a key and all that good stuff. You don't do the shortcut. You're taking them all out. Cleaning it out.
You learn things.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So I have these two.
Yes. So I think the next step is to make sure that you provide your key to them.
I want to use
You answer. Key section. Put in the box and use it.
So I don't want to launch this.
No.
Will it save where I'm at or no?
Here. And then key there. And then key there. You will be your key. Key there. And then key there. And then button. And you provide the public key to that. In your desktop, you can use the pub. That's the one you should provide to them.
Okay.
You know that you have the PPK file.
Right.
How you do the orange box and clear launch and launch.
So when you generate your own public private key there, opposed to using Amazon services, the assumption is that you feel that your own personal computer security is higher than that.
You could trust Amazon.
Yeah, that would be assuming that they're more secure.
And the first factor is tiny when not go specifically focus on this one aspect. Which is if the Amazon machine is generating a key pair for you, are they cheating on you and keeping a private copy somewhere?
Okay.
Telling you I did not keep. That is only part of trust I'm talking about. One might think that they might cheat, they might keep the private copy and tell me that I did not. And say, hey, here's the private key, I don't have it. They might have kept it. You don't know that part, if you're feeling concerned, you feel good.
Is there a risk of having, if your computer was
This is usually not about computer security, it's about trusting the Amazon people. They're the person
I'm
I'm
doing
doing
what they're saying?
It's the first factor. So if you trust them, you let them generate a key. If you don't trust them,
So now I want to go back to CPU.
in instance, you button,
Oh wait.
if there's somebody else, don't kill other people's business. Like you're sharing an account, We don't touch other people's machines.
No, I just wanted to make sure I didn't my machine.
If you want to go to your login instance and since you're sharing an account, leave other people alone. You look at your one to name it appropriately, select one of the items, direction, give a name, give a number, then public ID, and you give a name.
Oh yeah.
Security groups, I think they're open for everybody. Should not be a problem. But some people keep the security groups slightly locked down. And then launch. When you launch, you select your drop down key there, which is Andrew. You acknowledge that I have my private key, launch, wait 2 minutes, take the public IP address, now people.
So we have that.
Exactly. And it's your platform. And again, whatever you want. Just automate the whole goddamn thing, right? This is what it does. That's Linux, so PHP, WordPress, Teams, everything can be completely handled automated by one command. But I tell you the website, you have created in 10 minutes. One line command, 2 minutes, will automate the whole thing. It creates a good looking site and posts it live on DLSS and things. It's part of chef, go to the recipe to create that we do in the class is one of the exercises. Yes. Yeah. It's only the second one. We'll do that. We'll party, totally enjoy the whole thing. We'll love it. I know. I know this already. But I want you to really say that, not me.
So I go to page 1, it's running.
Okay, grab the public IP address and see if you can connect to it. You should give me public IP very soon.
So I wanted to connect to different we do that.
That machine can run, no problem. But you can start machines out there everywhere. It's not a big deal for coding. Now, the question you have is, do I need to every time start a long game? You just do this.
So I'm connecting to the computer like to server A. I will connect to computer 2 to server A. Generate new keys.
Have the key.
Oh, okay.
Adding your key in your keychain somehow. That will and then switch computers. They will still connect to the same lock. But as long as you have the keys on the machine you're sitting, you will can get in from wherever you are. Even on the iPhone, there is an app for server or something. You will connect to your going to cloud on the app. Let me find out the name of the app. You can download and try it right now. Let me give you a public key. Let me give you a private key to the iPhone, to the Dropbox, and then provide it to the app and connect to the app.
So I have a VM running, and I have my public and private key. If I want to access another computer, I have to have my private key.
Private key there.
What if I want to give someone else access? I don't necessarily want to give them my private key.
Depending on how much level of access you want to give. You're going to give them root access, it's effectively giving away. Okay, right?
So imagine you had a physical Linux box on your desk. How would you give me access? You create a company.
Okay. So they would need a key for anything.
Well, you would probably You can create an account and I can use a username and password, that's old school, or you can create an account that has SSH.
How would you connect to it?
So the root user will create and
Well, 422, I can tell you. Okay. Tell me old school.
Telnet is, you have to think of it as Telnet. It's not. Use SSH. Nobody else uses Telnet. Think of it as history. Yeah, right. History, nobody uses.
I agree.
Yes. So, if Telnet is on, so don't even think about it. Think of SSH. Can you create an account? You have root privileges, you have master control. You want to give your friend access, then you log on to your root box and then create a user account.
And you don't need a key for that.
Not for creating a user account, but he might need a key to access the user account on your machine.
So you're starting to get into the realm of Linux system administration, creating accounts for users.
You can go there. Depending on what you want to understand, I think I want to make sure your concepts are still clear. I really make that point clear. So you really get it. This is key. So
It's just that the AMI that you happen to start up comes pre-built with one account in it called Ubuntu. And when you launched it, you told it what key pair to use, so they injected that into it at that launch time.
Yep.
And so you have to manually use other tools to create.
Okay. So I log in and then I get a user, give them a password.
Yeah, so you have to look up the tools that Ubuntu offers. for creating the-
Oh, okay. So like the AD
Yeah.
or local users.
Mobile apps.
So the command is user add. That's the
Okay.
command. Now you say user add,
Yeah.
and it creates a user. As simple as that. And then you can create a login name and a password for the user. Say Philip. So here Andrew, the person, creates a machine in the cloud that gets a Ubuntu, the user. So you are the root, the primary, the creator, the master. And now here, Andrew, the person with Ubuntu, the user, and your private key can come in and say user add, and then enter, and it'll ask you for login and password and everything. Creates a user account for them, just like you create an Active Directory. Pretty much same concept, except in Windows and server you use Active Directory. In regular Windows client you have a user account for control panel thing. You can create a user account for a person. You can elevate the privileges of that user to an administrator or leave them a limited user depending on what you want. So depending on the same concept applied here, you can mark that person as a super user or not. Give them a variety of level of access permissions. The same principles are there in Windows, in Ubuntu, in Mac, and everywhere.
And the key is come into play.
Key doesn't come into play. Key is only for entry.
Okay.
The privileges are associated with the user. The user can get privileges. The first person who creates the machine gets root privileges. The other people do not, by definition, have it. You need to provide it. The root master has to provide root privileges to other people if you want to give them. If you want to log down, you can log them down. And so you don't want you to say if you don't like it, you just give him like a plain simple login and don't give him admin privileges. He can do nothing except like stay within his sandbox. And then log out, log in, and then he needs to access. He can create it with his own key and put that in the right location, and he can remote SSH into his account within your machine, and still get limited access, even if he has the key. Because key is a proxy to the password. Simple words. Okay. Key is just another way of automating authentication. It's a proxy to a password manual username password.
Is the SSH protocol?
Yes. But everything, everywhere is encrypted these days. There is no other way. Every single thing that you operate in on the internet is encrypted. To the extent of this microphone that I have connected to that radio over there, even that is encrypted. You cannot snoop on my conversation on radio. Every bit of transmission everywhere on the planet Earth today has to be encrypted. Not necessarily everything is, but it's a requirement. Most governments require it, most organizations require it. Any communication, any transmission has to be encrypted.
I thought there was a good portion of the internet. So
Yes,
HTTP.
HTTP is not, and that is okay. Leave it alone because we don't need to. The aspect when I say control of user accounts come into play. That's you need, when there is privacy needed, you need encryption and security. When it's public, like free Wikipedia, it doesn't need to be HTTPS. It's public information. Why do you need to have a security overhead on top?
Right.
Let's see whether Wikipedia is HTTPS. Probably not. Wikipedia.org. It is not. See, it is not HTTPS. It's plain HTTP. There is no need for it to be secure. The security is needed when there is a need, a business need or a personal need to keep something private. That's where security comes into play. And when it is secure, when it needs to be secure, it needs to be encrypted. Otherwise, there is no need. If there is no business need, there is no need to involve security at all. Like Wikipedia is not, for example. In classroom is. So you see classroom, we are accessing this classroom, and this particular big B is locked down, and it is secure. It is only us. We can access it, not anybody else. They won't even see it. The traffic is encrypted between us and Google, right? So one thing I just struck me in this video problem or the docs.google.com problem, I think you can work around it by using your iPad or tablets. It will work. It is not, yeah, iPad or iPhone, it will work on just fine.
I don't have a laptop for that.
Fine. Yeah. To use for viewing videos, just use iPad. It will work, no problem. So just like that. Unless even your iPad is locked down by Boeing, that I don't know.
No, it's personal.
Beautiful, it will work, no problem. Just all the video viewing, watching, typing, creation, you can do comfortably, no problem at all. Provided you log in with the Cloud Genius login on the browser.
So there's no reason to watch video in here, right?
There is absolutely, it will be bad if you watch videos here.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a desktop at home.
Do whatever, yeah, do. Actually, the videos are meant for you from home. No, we're not watching, I'm not playing videos here. No, not at all. Cool. So, did we succeed in the PuTTY access, or do you want to look at that?
I haven't tried it.
Okay, give it a shot. I want to make sure you succeed, each one of you.
So I just open the regular PuTTY
I
one.
haven't spin it out yet.
So
Should
do
I?
you have
Anything down there?
Yeah. Do I need socks on not on the VPN?
if you're not, no,
That wasn't on the
socks is the
VPN.
way you have to look at it.
That wasn't on the VPN until you sent me the thing on there.
Take your inbound route.
I have created
Inbound.
so how do I
Go up.
to
This one, all traffic open. All traffic open. Awesome. And now we need to back. All ports also. All out. Okay, otherwise you can go edit and say specifically SSH.
So,
So I'm gonna just go.
The dashboard. The blue button.
so I did install it.
You're using your
So
free
you have to
trial,
find
right?
it.
To go Ubuntu here. And here you can see that your launch.
oh, good, you could get the, yeah, good.
IP address enable.
First start.
Okay, that's good.
But it's different. Not somewhere. Next is your naming.
So it's
Good. Proceed. Continue.
dashboard.
Now here you want to
Configuration.
read. And it's open to all. The border is okay for now. And then we launch. And then we get the key. It means open to all the ports open. In your
Oh, I see,
security group.
yeah.
In here, you want to select an existing key pair. Existing.
All right, so you got a problem. So the
And
default,
say fill in.
default
And
is
say acknowledge. And I have a private key. And you launch. And you have the private key, right? You can
Right.
Right.
Just launching. It will take 2 minutes to complete.
So what it
And then
says,
you
if
have
you're going here,
Yeah.
and then you're going to do that, if nothing else, do that. You want this to say socks.
the request I think that's
Yeah, you can call the help desk and we'll do it. Anyways, I'll do it until the next time we do it.
You can even request an extended one for like a week or something like that.
Yeah, I think they give it to me for advance.
But so once he sets that up though, if it reboots or something, it won't matter,
It
right?
should be persistent. I have seen cases where a software patch comes along and reverts it back.
Very easy to do that through Active Directory on Windows of management method. It will like totally regulate what employees are doing to the extent of possibly it's crazy. It's crazy. But
So what you could do for now, if you want, is you could disconnect the VPN and just go directly to Amazon without going through
okay. Yeah, if you disable VPN, it will probably let you to party. Let you go.
that. You only need socks to get out through the billing part. So if you don't have socks, you just go into the firewall.
I think it would be a good idea next time to just give you an overview of this SOX business, how it's connecting. I'll be making stuff up and he'll correct me. But I'll paint you a picture of how this firewall business seems to operate at Boeing. I'm reading a lot of information from you. I'll give you an illustration of how they are structured. So you get a concept of what he says when he says in the VPN, out of the VPN, in proxy, proxy, what's going on. I'll paint my perspective and he'll correct me. Yeah, I don't know. I'll make stuff up.
I have a question for you. So that security alert comes up,
And you don't say yes. You're basically saying that I know what I'm doing.
I have to say it.
Yes, there's no other way.
Is this private?
Yes,
Was this displayed when I generated this? So if I copied it and so if I copied it and imported it from Putty prior to SSHing the machine, would it automatically verify that it's the correct machine?
You say yes, it's going to do that exactly, and next time we'll ask you.
Okay. But this is operating on the assumption that so if I connect to the wrong machine.
The first time you connect with SSH, it won't have a history of that fingerprint, let's say. Are you confident you're connecting to the right thing?
Yes, you can preload.
You can preload the
It's called known hosts. So here's the file. I'll show you that file where it stores the history. So if you go to say this folder and look at all the files in here, there is this file called known hosts. The very last item. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the file I think I want to look. And I'll say vi known hosts, and it caches all the machines I ever connected. And so look at the first machine. It's BA Cloud Genius machine. Next machine is 192.168.11.25. Next machine is 192.241. Next machine is
It's a check against swoops.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm in my mind I have compared it with the certificate warning with the if you connect to a VM via IP address, offset that's Windows.
the name number mismatch problem. That is similar. This is very similar.
Yeah.
It's you get that prompt when you have a name to number mismatch of unknown history of connecting to that machine. So that is the prompt telling you that you never connected before because the known host file is empty for you. And you never used PuTTY before probably.
No.
So the known host is empty, so it doesn't know that you ever connected to it before. So you can verify through the fingerprint. And if you look at this file carefully, you will have a fingerprint embedded and public keys called out.
So if I wanted to do my due diligence, I would compare this with against whatever I have saved.
Yes.
And so that's what I was getting at, is if I preload PuTTY with the fingerprint, I won't get a warning when I connect. So I would know by virtue of that.
Yes. You want to say yes, and it says.
Well, is that fingerprint, that's not.
I don't know how PuTTY stores this known host file. I will find out. I don't use PuTTY. I don't use Windows. I mean, for connecting to clouds. So I don't know how exactly known host file is stored in PuTTY. That is the different structure. But that's what this is storing. This is exactly what is being stored in all the hosts already known to my laptop. Which machine that I know I have connected in the past. That I know that I have the keys and there's no spoofing going on. Even if you spoof something, that name changes or IP address changes, you complain again. Hey, there is this app. Are you sure you want to connect?
So it says login as that, and I would use the credentials that you provided me and the password that I just set.
No, you have the login into root.
Oh,
How to work?
oh, just,
And this is unique to Amazon and unique to Ubuntu that the login name is Ubuntu. You remember me doing SSH-I name Ubuntu IP address? That's what this Ubuntu is. Ubuntu IP address. Oh, you need to also provide your private key, which you did not. Right? So you need to configure for people to say that I have my private key and my username is, so you can tell you what configure for. Here you give post name, your IP address, right there,
right.
and then save. So 54, 58, I think it's a good idea to watch it. If you didn't connect. So 54, whatever that number is, save it, give it a name, extra or something, give it call it Andrew, whatever, and save it. And save for now. And then walk you through a couple of things you look at. You go here somewhere to leave, and one of them is have a place to type the funds on. So go expand this and say hot, AUTH. So now, that's why you need the private key there, right? You can provide the private key in the hot section, and give the PPK, and the PPK is there open, so you know you have a private key. You go on to the very top, not the user friendly, on the very top, and go on, and say session. So save again. Let's say this time with a private key. Now, somewhere along the way, you are going to name. That name is only under the connection stack, somewhere it's text, somewhere it's connection one by one. And somewhere there is a place to say one. Maybe to the other. There, so I will connect that. And hold it up and save again. That's kind of ugly. So session, and save. And then open.
Cool. How do I exit the session?
Control V.
Control D.
Yes. Or type in exit EXIT.
Oh.
Yeah, we know.
Once you're logged in, you're talking to a shell.
Right.
So wherever the shell is executing.
Cool. You can even create a shortcut on what is good on desktop. So one click login to Amazon. Oh. I feel in a PPK. You don't convert public key into private key, you have to generate it.
I think Tony doesn't know how to use a pen.
Yeah, yes, it doesn't.
So
convert
it has a converter work.
Yes, yes. So we can convert the PEM Amazon provided into a PPK format, and then you can connect to it. And the flip that you did is you generated your own PPK, so you have it already to begin with, and then you can just use it. So if you trust Amazon, you are wasting time, I guess, with another program. Yeah, you're using it as
What if it's something you don't trust?
I have this,
so you need to now start generating. What you want to do is actually import the key and convert it. So you have to load up. You want to load. You have a PEM file, right? So see what happens if you load it. And then you save private key. Save private key. And say yes.
That's correct.
Save yes. And then
If
you
you want
want
to
the
take
PPK.
these.
So say PPK. And say put it in the right location.
So you're trading off security versus
Location is.
Once
Say
you set it up,
separate key.
the location PPK and say. Yeah, the Linux convention. But then like say save, and then you have a PPK file now. You want to exit.
Yeah. We want to do some part organization.
Somehow I got denied for the first one.
Your spelling Ubuntu is wrong.
Oh, I.
There's no hardware and it's Ubuntu.
I just use the same key across all names on
Yeah, you provide the key to every region. That's another curiosity. Every region needs to get the key over and over. We don't get keys on the region. If you change the region, everything is just easier for the class. You just to the other region. I mean, pick your region, stick to it. I would suggest sticking to Oregon West, USS 2.
So if I can I right click it and just, what is stop the one of shutdown?
Stop is like shut down, terminate is kill.
The shop is going to power up.
Okay. The terminate, you don't need it.
Oh, alright.
Why do you need it?
Or where use it?
Do you want to keep it? I mean, yeah, I'm going properly, so, but your call. So if I were you, I would actually kill the machine. It takes only 2 minutes to build the machine. So I follow. You haven't done any work on the
Right,
machine,
now if you were to spend an hour installing the software on
then you want to keep it.
it, yeah.
I mean, it's worthwhile. But this machine, we done nothing. All we did is start it up. They connected to it. So we don't care if it's shut down or needing it or destroyed. All we care for is we know how to do it now. So next time we do it, we'll now build up the machine as we want to throw it. I've had some components, had some software. Whatever we do in the class, but we know what we are doing. Right now we did nothing, literally. We can destroy it. Terminate.
So the terminator, you have to go and use the UI.
For right now, yes.
Oh.
It won't let me.
We don't have privileges.
Oh,
Probably. We did not give the privileges.
I thought you had another key.
You copy? Done? You copy? Did you see copy? So, done?
thank you.
So it's not telling you you can't do it, something's going wrong.
So, I'm not connected to going right now, so,
Oh,
Here you will configure 2 things. One is the connection, the IP address, connection, and click on the things over, and grab the IP address from the description tab. That's the one you have. Give it to Buddy. Paste. If you want to do the name, what is 22? Do the name here, Nitin, and save. If you want to go to some of these and put the names, keep on going down step by step. Sometimes there is auto login user. Data, proxy, telnet, or login, one of these guys. That's it. Where was it? You want to say it one.
there we go.
So,
I think I just had a
just
weird
kill the whole thing.
sort of issue with my browser.
No, it's spelling wrong. Still you.
Yeah,
Multiple use. There is no A. You. Again, this is O.
oh, it's not
Exactly. Yes. Oh, sorry.
I have to go and save the one more, which is SSH, and you have to provide a private key.
In R.
And,
That private key files and give it, and then you save it, and then you're done. So how did we do today? Useful, boring?
I think it was useful. Cool. A little bit of hiccups in the beginning with this logistics.
I know there is
that
that.
happens.
Right, Google Drive. You know, it hurt me so bad today.
You know, that kind of stuff is so hard to predict, though.
You know, I was in a state of shock when I saw, ouch, that video will not work.
Every training class
There's hiccups.
runs into a problem.
Yeah, but I think we can work around. We can totally work around these things.
Yeah.
No issues there. So let me stop the video recording hangout and give you out a link on the classroom. You can access it whenever you feel like. Hang out.
So we bring in